Good day to everyone. Please, this is our last topic, which was the payroll accounting, and we couldn't finish. So this video is out there so that you can watch and then you also take note of it. Now, to prepare a payroll, every organization or any some institution, they have their own salary structure. When it comes to Ghana, we are using the single span. So if you have first degree diploma, the salary structure is there. So we are going to prepare the payroll for the for employees over here. As you see their names over here. So you see that we have the names over there. Okay, so assuming you are the payroll officer, you are the in charge to prepare the payroll at the end of the month. So we have their staff ID, we have their Ghana card number, we have their names, grade, levels, and everything as you see it over there. Okay, so these are the various names that we have, and these are the salary structure. So they are saying that when you're on 20H, you are to receive 25,000. So as you see it over here, these are the salary structures. Okay, so depending on your level, that will depend the salary that your basic salary that you are supposed to take. So when you pick the first employee, for instance, Abugri Emmanuel, the person is on 17H. So 17H, when we check here, 17H is 4,500. So we just put, so the next column heading will be the basic salary as you see it. So it will be 4,500. Then I record it. The next one is 17L. So I have to go back to the salary table and check, and it's 3,500. So I will type 3,500. Okay. So assuming we are to do this for about 1,000 employees, you see that it will waste time. It will take so much time. So the next one is 19H. So 19H is 15,000. So I will just record 15,000 over here. All right, so you see that as and when the transaction is moving, you just be recording them. Assuming you have 1,000 employees, you have to be checking them one by one to record the basic salary. No, that's why we are doing the computerized accounting. Okay, so with a combination of Excel and then accounting and taxation, we are going to combine these three here to prepare our payroll using Excel, and that will make us easy, our work very easy for and efficient for us. You know, when you are to check all the levels before displaying the basic salary, you can even make some errors when it comes to that. So without wasting time, we will proceed and then we know what to do. So let's go to the salary table. You see, this is the salary. So we just insert a table for it. So to insert a table, you already know it. Control T. Okay. Then we check my table has headers and we click OK. Don't forget, anytime you insert a table, don't forget to name it. So the table name is salary. So in the table name, you can get it under the table design. Then you go to the table name and you type the salary over there. This is where we name a table name. So after naming it, we are done. Then I will select the payroll sheet. Then I'll also insert a table for it. Control, you select a cell and then Control T. Then you name it as payroll. So we are now coming to prepare the payroll. So as you can see it over here, it's nicely okay there. So sorry. Okay, so these are the various column headings that we have, and then the next one is the basic salary. So we are not going to record them one by one, but rather we are going to input a function that is going to display all the basic salary for us. And the basic salary will depend on the level. Okay, it's going to depend on the level. So on the payroll, if you want to compare with the book, open to when you check page, we are going to follow a systematic way. So when you open to page 122, we have similar example over there. So with the function to display the basic salary, we are going to use the VLOOKUP. Sorry. We are going to use the VLOOKUP. So with the VLOOKUP, it's divided into four. We have the lookup value, the table array, and then the column index, and the last one is true or false. And when you talk of the lookup value, is the item the system has to look upon to display the salary. And when you check here, the system has to always check what? The level the person is before displaying the salary. So the level is going to be the lookup value. Okay, the level is going to be the lookup value. And when you talk of the table array, the table array is referring to where you get all these salaries from. Okay, so the table arrays becomes salary because the name is salary. And the next one is the column index. How many columns do we have within the table? It's two, 1 and 2, and 1 is level and 2 is basic salary, so with the column index, you just display 2, so that when the person is on 1780, you see the 4500. And the last one is the true or false. And the true or false, when you pick true, it will run into the nearest whole number, and when you pick false, it will maintain the exact figure. And in accounting, we all know that we don't run figures, we maintain the figures as it is. Okay, so we are now going to input our function, which is the VLOOKUP. So I2, I will type equal to VLOOKUP. It will pop up. I don't have to worry myself. I just have to select. Okay, what is the lookup value here? You see it has been highlighted over here, and it's the level, and the level can be found in E2. So I will just type E2. So the moment I type the E2, you see it has been highlighted for me. Then comma, then the table array. So I start salary. The moment I start, it will pop up with the table name, the salary with the table icon. Then I select, then I bring comma, the column index. Assuming right now I want to display 2 because that is where you get it. So 2, then comma, true or false, we pick false, and we close the bracket. So this is your formula. Okay, this is your basic salary formula, and it will display all the basic salary. And the reason why we inserted the table is that so that whenever you input the function, the system will display the rest for you. You don't have to do the copy and paste again. So this is the formula for the basic salary. Even though in the book you see it in a different way, but this is the best formula that will help you, and it's very simple and has understanding. So I just hit my enter key. So the moment I hit the enter key, you see that the system has autofilled with all the basic salary. Some of you may see hash hash hash. When you see something like this, it means the cell is too small to contain it. So all you have to do is just expand it, I. So you put the cursor between the I and the G, then you double click and it will expand it for you. So now we now have our basic salary. So we will move on. We are going to move on to add all our allowances, because in payroll, whenever you are doing it, you have to prepare your basic salary, your allowances, your deductions. So with the allowances, it depends on the organization. Please take note, with the payroll, it depends on the organization. Okay, so the allowances, some organization they have clothing allowance, food allowance, canteen, fuel, TNT, depending on the organization's policies. Okay, depending on the organization policies. So in my organization or example, we are making a reference to page 122. Page 122. page 122. So when you check, the first allowance that we have here is rent allowance of 5% of the basic salary for all employees. So you see that all the employees in the organization are to enjoy the rent allowance of what? 5%. They are to enjoy a rent allowance of what? 5%. Okay. So they are to enjoy the rent allowance of 5%. The next column heading is rent. So I'll just type the rent and then and it's 5%. So 5% on the basic salary, and the basic salary can be found in cell I2. Have you seen it? I2, this is the basic salary. So assuming it's normal mathematics, it's going to be 4,500 multiplied by 5%. Okay, and that will give us the answer. But since we are using Excel, we will just input the figures, the formulas there, and the system will do the adjustment for us. So 5% on the basic salary equal to 5% multiplication multiplied by the basic salary. And the basic salary can be found in I2. Have you seen it? So I'll just type I2 and it will highlight it for me. So the moment I press enter, it will calculate for the remaining employees. So this is the formula for the rent. So when it comes to the allowances, always read the allowance before you come out with your own formula, because for that one it doesn't have a specific formula. It depends on the allowance. Okay, thank you. So I'll just press my enter to see if I'll get a 5%. Thank you. So you see that it's 5% by the allowances. Some are having huge figures, some are having less. So it depends on the basic salary. It depends on the basic salary. Now the next one, the next allowance is RICS. RICS is 1%. The next allowance, so K1 is RICS. So RICS, and it's, listen to the, read the from page 122. Page 122. The second allowance is saying that there is a RICS allowance of 1% of the basic salary. 1% of the basic salary plus 25 cedis for each day work. So you see that the RICS allowance is in two forms. The first one is 1% on the basic salary. Okay. And the second one is 25 cedis for each day work. So 1% of the basic salary is there, and then plus 25 cedis for each day work. So the number of days work is here. Have you seen it? So each time you come to work, you are entitled to enjoy 25 cedis. But the RICS allowance, you put the two together. So putting the two together, we have to separate it by using a bracket. So it's going to be equal to, then you open a bracket. The first one is 1% of the basic salary, and the basic salary can be found in I2. I2, so multiply by I2. Then I close the bracket. Then plus another bracket open, and it's saying 25 cedis multiplied by number of days work, and it's on F2. Have you seen it? Number of days worked, F2. So I put F2, then I close the bracket. So the system will calculate the two. It will calculate the first part and then the second part, and then it will add the two together and display the output for you. So whatever you see is going to be the outcome of the two functions entered here for the RICS allowance. So I'll press enter to see. So this is my RICS allowance. So you see that they are getting different allowances over here. Okay. The next thing that I want us to do, we can open to page, those who are having the copy of the book, open to page 130. 130. and the 130, we have I, I. I'm just mixing it so that you get more understanding. And looking at our level, we are all degree students. Looking at our level, we have to at least test all kinds of allowances so that when we encounter any of them, we'll be able to solve it. Okay. So with the fuel allowance, the fuel allowance of 200 cedis per month for all directors and managers, and 150 cedis for the remaining staff. If you read it over there, they are saying that if we're a manager or a director, you are entitled to enjoy 200 cedis for the fuel allowance. And if you are not a manager or a director, you are also to enjoy 150 as the monthly allowance for fuel. So with this one, we have to use the if function. We have to use the if function because it's a conditional statement. It's a conditional statement, okay? It depends on your grade or your position. That is going to determine the fuel allowance you are to enjoy for the month. If you are a manager or a director, you are to enjoy a fuel allowance of 200 cedis, but the remaining staff are to enjoy 150. So we are going to use the if function, and we already know the if function is divided into three. We have the logical test, the value if true, and then the value if false. So the next column heading is going to be fuel. Okay, so this is how you come out with our own formula. If the grade or the position, so let me delete the grade and make it position. Position, if the position of the employee or the grade is a manager, so if the person is a manager, then record 200. If the person is a director, record 200. The remaining staff, record 150. So this is how we generate the formula together. So it's going to be equal to if the position can be found in which cell? D, D2. So if D2, okay, equal to, then you put it into double quotation. Don't forget that Excel does not accept text when it comes to formulas. So if you want it to accept it, you have to put it into double quotation. And to get your double quotation, always hold the shift key and press the double quotation. Don't press the single one twice, please. Take note. So shift, then the second key after L, you get it. Then comma. So let's assume that G2 is now manager. What do you want the system to record for you? 200 cedis. That is the value if true. Have you seen it? The value if true. Then comma again. If D2 equal to direct, they are two. Remember that in the book they added S, but when you are typing it, we don't add the S. Director, also into double quotation. What do you want to see? 200. Then, so if the person is not a director or a manager, the person is entitled to receive what? 150. That is the value if false. So I'll just put 150 over here. How many brackets so far? 2. 1, 2. Then, so this is your formula. Okay? And you can make it in so many. You can meet it in so many ways. So this is your formula. Sometimes we can even meet it if the person is a manager, the person is entitled to enjoy 10% on the basic salary, by the remaining staff 5%. So always take note of the allowance before you enter. So this is the formula for it. Then let me press enter to see what will happen. Enter. So you see that the first person accountant in is 150, 150. Let's see, the manager is 200. Have you seen it? Manager 200, manager 200. Let me see if I have directors over here. Yes, director 200, directors 200. Have you seen it? So after getting it, you are good to go. But assuming you are to record it one by one, you check before you enter, you check. No. With Excel, with the help of Excel, you are always good to go. All right. And within some few minutes, you are done. Then your payroll will be ready for you. Now, the next thing I want us to do, that is coming off head. So you can take note. It's coming off head. And that one is going to be overtime. Overtime allowance. Overtime. All right. And the overtime allowance is very simple and very easy. Assuming the organization, the standard working hours for the month is 150. So let me set this scenario. Standard working hours. So the standard hours, okay, is 150 for the month. But if you exceed it, the standard working hours, if you exceed it, maybe you are able to work for the 200 hours like for the first person. With the standard working hours is 150, but you are able to work for 200 hours within the month. And they are saying that if you are able to work for 200 more than the 150 hours, which is the standard, then you are entitled to enjoy overtime allowance of 15 cedis. So overtime allowance is 15 cedis. I'm just assuming, so please. So let's pick the first person, for instance. The person was able to work for 200 hours. So 200, Emmanuel was able to work for 200 hours within the month. So the 200 is going to be the 200 minus 150, right? And that is going to give us 50. Then afterwards, we multiply it by what? By 15 cedis. So the person is 50 hours. The person has a 50 hours. And the 50 hours, each hour is 15 cedis. So it's going to be equal to the 50 hours multiplied by the 15 cedis. So if I press enter, sorry, I had an error because of this, the cedis that I added. So it will be this. So the person is entitled to 750 overtime. So you just enter it over here. And the next person will have overtime of 35. So 35 by this, you do that continuously. But you see that some of them is having less than this. So what do? If the person is having less than 150, you just put 0 there, because that person, we are not per the company's policies, we are not less anything from the person's salary. If the person was not able to achieve the target, you are not to less anything. Okay, so in this case, you see that the hours are not the same. They are different hours. Okay, so we cannot just say the H equal to maybe H2 minus 150, then multiply it by the rate. No, you can't do that. All right. So we have to put it into a function. If function. So it's going to be equal to if let's open a bracket, if the working hours, so H2 is greater than 150, and the 150 is the working hours. All right, is greater than the 150, then H2, that is the working hours minus the standard. Then we close the bracket and multiply it by the rate. So multiply by 15 cedis. All right, then comma. So if the person was not able to work more than the standard working hours, if the person was not able to work more than the standard working hours, what do you want the person to get? 0. So I put 0 here, then I close the brackets. So the moment I press enter, I'm expecting to get 750, and the remaining stuff will be calculated for me. So that is the formula for the overtime. So take note of it, your formula for the overtime. All right. Thank you. So I press enter, and this is my overtime. So you see that those who are having 150 less than that, they are all 0, 0, 0, 0, and the remaining are okay. So we continue from this point. Now, so for now, these are the various allowances that we are going to use for our lectures. Okay, these are the various allowances that we are going to use. So we have the basic salary, rent, rates, fuel, and then overtime. Please take note and know how to use the if function to generate your allowances whenever you encounter any allowances. So the next column heading is going to be the gross salary. Okay, so the gross salary, the next column heading. And when you talk of the gross salary, is the basic salary plus all allowances. Is the basic salary plus all the allowances. Okay, so the basic salary can be found in I2. Then you add all the allowances up to M2. All right, up to M2. So to get it, you can highlight from I2. So highlight, you just hold the shift key and select M2. It will highlight everything for you. Then you go to home. Have you seen this auto sum, the Sigma? Some of the version is sum. You just click on it. So when you click, the summation is done for you. And this is the formula for the gross. You can also enter it equal to sum. I2 is to M2. I2 is to M2. Please, payroll. Even if you don't learn anything when it comes to the computerized accounting techniques, please, for the payroll, at least try and know how to prepare your payroll so that whenever you go to an interview, I know some of you, when you go to an interview and they ask you how much do you want to take, they will say, oh, 4K. Because they did not specify that they want to get 4K as net. They will just say 4K, and at the end of the month, they will pay you somewhere around 3.2K or something, then you'll be angry. You did not specify that you want a net salary of what? 4K. You said 4K. So employer will just assume that the 4K is the gross, because for the employer, he's there just to cheat on you to get money. Okay, so please take note. Payroll is very, very important. So take note. That is your formula. Now, the next column heading that we are going to tackle, please, the next column heading is very important, and that one you will not find it in any book. And that one is called the taxable or the chargeable income. It's taxable or chargeable. It's taxable. Some of the taxation books, you will see it as taxable. You will see it as chargeable or taxable income. Please, I'm coming. Bo. Okay, so we have the chargeable income. The chargeable income. So when you talk of the chargeable income, this is what we are going to charge. So this is what we are going to charge our PAYE on it. Okay. And with the chargeable income, we will leave it for now. With the chargeable income, we are not going to input the function for now. I think it's too long. Let me just shortcut it. It's okay. You will not input it for now, so we come back to it. Now the next one, the next column heading that we are going to deal with is the next one that we are going to deal with is SNIT. Okay. And when you talk of deductions, we are now moving on to deductions. You know, we are done with the basic salary, allowances. Okay. And we are moving to the deductions. And please, when you talk of deductions, we have the statutory deductions and we have the optional. And when you talk of the statutory deductions, the first thing that should come into your mind is SNIT. And the SNIT, we all know that it's 18.5. It's 18.5. But the one we deduct from the employee salary is the 5.5%. Okay. So when you talk of the statutory deduction, it's SNIT 5.5%, and then PAYE, which is the income tax. So please take note, the PAYE or the income tax and SNIT are statutory deductions. So anytime you are preparing any payroll, make sure you include the two as part of deduction. Then we have other deductions. We have something like salary advance, salary loans. We have dues, welfare dues, so many allowance deductions depending on the organization. Some of you can even instruct their employers to every month lend some money and then deposit it at the bank for their child education, child support. Those kind of money are all part of deduction. But we have the ones which are statutory by law. Whenever you are preparing payroll, it should be there. It's SNIT 5.5 and then the income tax. Okay, so with the SNIT, and it's 5.5%, 5.5%. Okay, and it's always calculated on the basic salary. Please take note, SNIT is always calculated on the basic salary. So it's going to be equal to 5.5% multiplied by the basic salary. And the basic salary can be found in I2. Have you seen it? So I2, it will be highlighted for you. So when you check the deductions, when you read from page 122, even though in the book the following deductions were made every month from the employees' salaries. So we have the Senate 5.5 contribution towards the social security. Okay, so the Senate is there 5.5. Now let's move on to the dues. And all the employees are to pay a dues, union dues. So dues, and it's 15 cedis for each. So 15 cedis, you just type equal to 15, equal to 15. Just type equal to 15. Then you press enter. And all the employees. So this is the formula for the Senate 5.5 multiplied by I2. So the union dues is there equal to 15. And you have it. Okay, the next column heading that we have in the book, page 122, is Provident Fund. Is the Provident Fund. Okay, is the Provident Fund. So Provident Fund, so PF, or let me type it in full. Provident Fund, Provident Fund, and in the book it's 10%. All the employees Provident Fund deduction of 10% of the basic salary. Provident Fund is also known as the Tier 3. Provident Fund is also known as the Tier 3. So take note, Provident Fund is also known as the Tier 3. So, and it's always calculated on the basic salary. It's always calculated on the basic salary. Provident Fund, it comes with some conditions. So we come with that. We come with the condition. And the Provident Fund is Tier 3, but it's not compulsory. Okay, Provident Fund is optional, unlike the SNIT, but it behaves like the SNIT. But the Provident Fund is not compulsory, it's optional. It depends on the organization. So, with a Provident Fund, we are not using the 10% here, we are going to use 20%. So, we assume that all the employees are entitled to contribute 20% to the Provident Fund. So, equal to 20%. And Senate is always calculated on the basic salary. And the basic salary can be found in I2. I2. So multiply by I2. I2. Okay. Then you press enter and it is calculated for you. So that is your Provident Fund. And the next one is the income tax, or the PAY. Pay as you earn. PAY. Pay as you earn. And that one, we will not input the function yet. We will come to it later. All right. So the next thing is going to be the total deduction. The total deduction. Okay. So the total deductions, you have to sum them together. Okay. And it's going to be equal to sum. And it starts from Senate. So equal to sum P2 is to S2. S2, because the income tax is also part. Then you close the bracket. You close the bracket. You close the bracket. All right. Then with the brackets, so equal to sum P2 is to S2. Then I press enter. So this is your total deductions, as you can see it over there. That is your total deductions. Okay, so we are done with the total deduction. And now let's move on. The SNIT, we have the employee one, so we are left with the employer. With the employer, that is 13%. So SNIT, and it's 13%. Don't forget, the employer will contribute this amount on your behalf, and it's always calculated on the basic salary. So it's going to be equal to 13% on the basic salary, and the basic salary can be found in I2. So I2, okay, I2, then you press enter. So with the SNIT, we have the 5.5, which is being paid by the employee, and then the 13%, which is being paid by the employer. So whenever you are being employed into any organization, please make sure they pay something on your behalf so that when you go on pension, you are going to depend on it. Okay. Sometimes you hear this proverb, they will be saying that we should be man if you are not to know. We don't do that nowadays. Okay. So please press enter and we have it. So assuming your basic is 4,500, this is the amount the employer always pays on your behalf, 585. And then we move on to the net salary, the take home, the amount of money you are going to enjoy with your family. And the net salary is always the gross salary minus the total deduction. Is the net salary, gross salary minus the total deduction. And the gross salary can be found in N2, and the total deduction is T. So it's going to be equal to N2 minus T2. So gross salary minus the total deductions. That will give you the net salary or the take home. The net salary or the take home. So you just press enter to accept. So this is the net salary for them. Okay, with this, let me add something small before we come back and do the chargeable and then the income tax. And the income tax, I'll do it with the next video alongside with the payslip because I don't want to confuse you. Okay, I know most of you have heard tier 1, tier 2, all right? Tier 1 and then tier 2. Tier 1 is 13.5%, and that one is being managed by the Senate, and the tier 2 is 5%. That one is being managed by financial institution. Initially, the Senate used to manage everything, but due to one or two circumstances, nowadays they manage only the tier 1. Only the tier 1. They will manage only the tier 1, that is the 13.5%, and the tier 2 will be given to any financial institution where the organization will find themselves, the financial institution. And when you talk of the tier 1 and the tier 2, this difference, it always confuse a lot of people, the two, tier 1 and tier 2, and then the Senate 5.5 and then 13%. You know, the Senate 5.5 here and the Senate 13% here is whereby you are collecting the money. Okay, so you collect 5.5 from the employee here, and then you collect 13% from the employer. Then you put the two together. So when you are going to pay to the Senate, okay, so this part is the collection of the money. The Senate is the collection of the money, and the tier 1 and the tier 2 is the payment. So you collected it and now you are going to make the payment. So the tier 1 and the tier 2 is the payment session, and the tier 1 is 13.5%. Okay, so the tier 1 is going to be equal to 13.5% also on the basic salary. So I2. So you see that this first part, the two snits are whereby you are collecting the money, and the tier 1 and tier 2 is whereby you are making the payment to the snit or filing returns to the snit. And the tier 1 is 13.5% on the basic salary. So you get it. And then tier 2 is 5% also on the basic salary, which is I2. Okay, and please take note that the formulas, it can change. It depends on where you get your basic salary. Okay, it will depend on where you get your basic salary. So I'll just press it, then I have it. So when you put these two, the tier 1 and the tier 2, when you put the two together, it should be equal to this snit, and then this snit, it should be equal to that. So you can test it and see. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, we are not done, but we are almost done with all the headings under the payroll. So this is your payroll. Now we are coming back to the chargeable income, because the chargeable income, this chargeable income is the amount that you get to calculate the PAYE on it. And the PAYE, we use the graduated method. And this is the graduated method. Next semester, you study some taxation. So when you study taxation, you get more understanding of this. But right now, when you go to the GRA site, this is the current graduated method that we are using. This is the current one, okay, for the year 2025 and 2024. So with the chargeable income, before you can get your chargeable income, some items are tax-free. So before you can get your chargeable income, you need to list those items. Okay, they are tax-free. So we don't have to charge taxes on it. And the items are SNIT, and the SNIT is 5.5%, the employee one. So this one, we don't tax it. The SNIT over here, we don't charge any tax on it. And then Provident Fund, and then the Provident Fund. But the Provident Fund, it comes with a condition. Okay, it comes with a condition that if the Provident Fund, you contribute more than 16.5, and then if you contribute more than 16.5, you are going to enjoy a tax free of 16.5. Okay, but if it's from 0 up to 16.5, you enjoy everything. You are going to enjoy everything. So let me give you this note so that you note it down. So PF, the PF over here stands for Provident Fund. If it's less than or equal to, so if it's less than or equal to 16.5, you are to enjoy everything. So if it's less than or equal to, if PF, so PF, I'm just giving you a note here, is less than or equal to 16.5%, the chargeable income formula, so CI, is going to be equal to, take note to gross salary minus SNIT, and the SNIT is 5.5%, minus PF, and the PF stands for Provident Fund. It stands for Provident Fund. Okay, so assuming in our case, the Provident Fund is 10%, but we use 20%, don't forget. So assuming it's 10% or less than that, the formula will be what? The gross salary can be found in which cell? N. So it's going to be N2 minus P2 minus R2. Assuming it's less than 16.5 or equal to that, this will be the formula. The next scenario, PF greater than 16.5%, then the chargeable income formula will be what? Equal to, it will be equal to gross salary minus net minus into bracket 16.5% multiplied by the basic salary. So this will be the formula. Okay, this will be the formula. So right now we can see that the provident fund is indeed greater than 16.5. Okay, so since it's greater than 16.5, the employee will enjoy only 16.5, and it's always calculated on the basic salary. So this will be the formula, equal to N2, the gross salary, minus P2 minus into brackets 16.5% multiplied by I2, which is the basic salary. Then I close the bracket. So between the two, we use the second one. So I'll just copy it, come and paste it under the chargeable income. And then I put my equal sign over here. Then this is the chargeable income. So this is the amount that we are going to use to calculate the PAYE, the pay as you earn. So please take note, when it comes to the provident fund, always to calculate your chargeable income, you have to check the rate of the provident fund. Then after checking the rate, then you come out with your formula. If it's less than or equal to 16.5, you just use this formula over here, the gross salary minus net minus the provident fund. And if it's greater than 16.5, this is the formula that you are going to use. This is the basic rule that I'm giving to you. Okay, now we are only left with the PAYE, and with the PAYE it will come to our next video. So thank you very much for your wonderful time, and thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good day. Thank you.